I believe Lukhanyo makes a starting 15 in a knockout game. I really think so because it's the aura of having a guy that's been there.
Do you know how much of a talking point that is?
I know.
No. If you go and win the game, everyone will say genius.
Yes.
If you happen to lose the game, do you know how many more questions you're gonna have? Why did you take a guy coming from cold? He hasn't played it. There's so many more reasons.
Absolutely.
But again, you are the head coach because you get paid the big bucks
Yes.
to make the big calls.
To make those decisions.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the All Rounders podcast with myself, Pila Sande Sakama, and of course, Nono Pongolo.
Hit the mic. Yay, hit the mic.
There's no claps for Nono Pongolo. Why? Here we go, Nono Pongolo. Nons, you right, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. These weeks are starting to feel like they won now.
It's long,
Long.
Yeah.
But unlike other people who build up, do build-ups. Do build-ups. Then Mimosa, you know.
Yeah, it's great, eh? Mimosa Mall, Bloemfontein, yeah.
That's like the only mall in Bloem, isn't it?
No, what do you mean? No, but it was good.
Is it?
Yeah, it was good. Pack a build-up for South Africa versus Tonga, which was a really, really, really good match. And South Africa won, which was good.
And you were building... You're
Building
part
up.
of that.
Yeah, we were building up.
building up that show.
Yeah,
You're in that show.
Yeah,
Nice,
so
nice.
yeah, it was nice. Maybe we can start off with rugby.
Yeah, why not?
Eh? Why not?
It's the only team that's winning from South Africa at the moment.
Eish. Why do you always go there?
Well, it's a fact.
Eh, why do you always go there?
No, it's the truth.
Eh? But the cricketers are winning.
Okay.
The ladies are winning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
2-1.
Exactly. So, yeah, let's start off with rugby, Nons. Round 5 of Rugby World Cup this past weekend. Of course, some of the teams now finishing their pool stages of the Rugby World Cup. South Africa finishing their Pool B commitments, beating Tonga by 49 points to 18, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
18, spot on.
Yeah, and it was a really good game.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of permutations as well because now Ireland have to play Scotland, which is the final game in Group B. And there's a lot of permutations around who finishes where in that group. And there's a lot of
Three
things.
scenarios still in the cards.
Yo. And people are throwing words now. Eh? They are throwing words out there because I heard Rassie Erasmus this past week saying he'd rather be in this position.
I remember,
and he would
sitting down
exactly knowing that my fate
it's been done.
You know, so it's interesting, because of course if you don't know the permutations, South Africa are on
15 because that bonus points helped a bit.
15 points. Scotland on 14 points.
Yeah, Scotland 14 and
Scotland on 10.
Sorry,
10.
Ireland 14,
Yes.
Scotland 10. So if Scotland wins with a bonus point,
Yes.
now then that means they'll be equal with South Africa, and then it becomes those bonus. Sorry, it's the net run rate.
Yeah,
it's basically
so it'll be head to
like
head, really. Yeah. So the permutations are Ireland must beat Scotland. We go through with Ireland in second place.
Yes.
If Scotland lose, they are out. If Scotland win, with a bonus point, they leapfrog South Africa into 15 points, and that means they go through along with Ireland.
Yeah. So currently South Africa was just positive 117.
Yeah.
That's the points
difference.
Ireland 122.
Yeah.
And Scotland is plus 97. And that 84 points against Romania was important for Scotland because it pushed them up a long way. So now, things are potentially, there could be a scenario where the Springboks are out, but that's low down in the scenarios that could potentially happen.
And there are a lot of people that were asking, especially the media in France, they were asking whether there's a possibility that Ireland and Scotland could collude to knock out South Africa.
Well, isn't that, first of all, that's illegal to collude.
How?
In sports, you can't agree a pre-agreement of a result before. I don't think that's one of the things. You're not allowed to do that.
No, but no, it's not like a pre-agreement. It's like, listen, Chief, just do us a favor.
What is doing a favor? What is doing a favor?
Just do us a favor.
That's basically like fixing most.
Yeah. You're fixing the results before.
And that's what Jacques Nienaber also said, though.
Yeah,
Because he was like, because they asked him the question in a press conference in France this past weekend after that Tonga game. And they asked him, can he imagine a scenario where Ireland and Scotland could come together and say, hey, listen, Chief, do us a favor here. We'll do you. Scratch my back, I scratch your back. And basically that's the correct answer, is that you can't possibly do that where you...
Well, the biggest part out of it is that one team needs a win more than the other.
Yeah.
I mean, Scotland needs to win first.
Yes.
Which is the most important thing. So that means, again, we collude in terms of how you win.
Yes.
So now you get those. How do you get those details like spot on? Because Scotland needs to win, I think, by a gap or margin of like more than 8 or something to have that bonus point or something like that. Which, this.
Yeah, they need to score 4 tries also to get a bonus point.
Yeah, which is Bafana territory now. Calculations.
Outcomes the Cassios.
Big money Cassios.
So it actually highlights, I mean, you could kind of see the second half of that game, how the Springboks were trying to quicken up the game.
Yeah.
You could see like there was like an intention to
Score
ensure
more.
that we score enough. Doesn't help to consider those 3 tries. But like, we got to talk about Tonga somehow, like rocking up last minute in the dying loss. They just rocked up, and it was a proper game.
Yeah.
And I mean, scrums against the Springboks, it's not something they often lose.
Yeah.
And they were proper. They were up for the game, which was a really nice game to watch. And we also predicted it that the Springboks could go with half and half.
Yes.
Some of the main starters were playing. Sia, Itzebeth played the whole game.
Yes.
Dion had an amazing game.
Yes.
But like obviously came at a cost for Makazola.
The Pimps.
Mapimpi.
Pumps, yeah. So for me, before we get to Makazole, Mapimpi, and of course that injury and who the replacements are, I thought South Africa really played well in terms of securing the result, because it's a result that they needed to secure. And of course, I mean, Tonga, we know how physical Tonga are, and how bruising of an encounter it is. And it has come with a casualty with Makazole Mapimpi, of course, fracturing his cheekbone and his eye socket.
Yes.
So his World Cup is over. And Lukhanyo Am is going to France.
Ingati, these things were
they were preordained. But what's nice though, also Nons, with that, maybe, you know, when I look at it, it's a blessing and a curse to have an injury to Makazole Mapimpi. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing for a guy to get hurt and for their tournament to be over, but it sort of benefits South Africa a little bit more, because now sort of the final piece of the knockout puzzle is coming together. You have Pollard back, who's your more reliable goal kicker. You've got Lukhanyo Am, who's back, who's a defense marshal. And we saw in the pool stages how stretched South Africa's defense was. Even though they didn't concede as many tries that in the pool stages, I think they conceded only 4 tries.
Yeah, there's 3 against Tonga.
Yeah, those three against Tonga were the ones that really took up the try scoring sort of conceding, if you like. But having Lukhanyo back, it sort of helps in marshalling that defense better for knockout rugby, and I think that's good.
It's an interesting one from my side, because I'm thinking, how much has he played? in terms of fitness, I think you would have obviously had time to recover. But like, it's all same as Pollard. He needed to have that 50 minutes. And the nice part about Pollard, he had his 50 minutes against Tonga, and you can just have a look and see what he's going to give us. We don't have that luxury anymore because it's quarters now.
Yeah.
Oh, we think that we are in.
Maybe we are in.
We are assuming that we are in.
Yeah.
Whereas now, he is most likely to be a bench player up front. There's
Pollard.
no way,
Lukhanyo.
There's no way you can throw him into the starting lineup from cold. There's no way.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't see that happening.
That's interesting.
How much rugby has he played?
He hasn't played it since the match that he got injured. I think that's Argentina in Argentina. So that was a couple of weeks before the Rugby World Cup started. But I think there's nothing that's stopping the coaches. Really, there's nothing stopping the coaches from putting him straight back in.
But we've been talking about the intensity, and the Springboks have been lucky that we played against Ireland, which was probably one of the most intense games of this World Cup, according to me. I mean, it was a proper standard 1 versus 2, and you could see it. And the Tonga game also would have set them up. I mean, for Pollard to have come through that, because those guys was massive, was bruising, and that was good signs. He had good 50 minutes, solid 50 minutes. Proved he potentially from the bench for me. But like, how do you now Lukhanyo from in the flight? He's got 13 days, which is nice. 13 days within the setup where he can obviously get back into the swing of things, but it's not a match intensity, which now takes away in terms of, I think he will most likely come from a bench, which means we're most likely going back to a 5-3. There's no more 7-1. Because Pollard has to be in, a scrum half I think might be in, and potentially then Lukhanyo comes in.
That's interesting because now Nyani, how does the coaching staff reflect, or how do they go about the selection process for these knockouts? I believe Lukhanyo makes a starting 15 in a knockout game. I really think so, because it's the aura of having a guy that's been there, done that.
Do you know how much of a talking point that is?
I know.
No. If you go and win the game, everyone will say genius.
Yes.
If you happen to lose the game, do you know how many more questions you're going to have? Why did you take a guy coming from cold? He hasn't played it. There's so many more reasons.
Absolutely.
But again, you are the head coach because you get paid the big bucks to make the big calls.
To make those decisions. And I heard them, they're saying that, even with Mani and Andre,
man, any day.
they have to make a decision.
No.
But I reckon, and for all the things that the coaching staff have said in terms of who is, sort of the front runner in terms of the selection pecking order, obviously Mani has proven himself and all of that stuff. But when it comes to crunch knockout rugby, you miss one, you're already feeling under the pump. So you'd rather have a guy who's been there, done that.
This is my scenario. Pollard comes in with 30 minutes to go, he closes off a game.
But you've already lost 11 points.
How do you know we lost?
team.
Maybe Mani created the moments as well. He just closes off a game. You've got a safe guy. He can kick the ball as much as he wants, looking for territory, stay in the opposition's half. That's fine. But to kind of now change how you've been playing, the confidence that you're taking away, because it's not like Libbok is playing badly. He's playing one aspect of his game is off. But everything else, tackling is good, marshalling the team, he's been good. Creating unbelievable moments. I'd rather have that than playing it safe.
But how much, the question for me is, how much of that do you get in knockout rugby? You probably don't get a lot of the freedom to do all of the stuff.
But you might need a person to just create a moment to win the game.
Absolutely, I agree. But you probably don't have the luxury.
I agree with Tapilas in terms of, like, it gets dicey, especially when also as South Africa, like how we play our rugby, we're all about getting the points on the board. Like if we can kick for poles, just collecting the points. So it's really rare in terms of like when you have moments where people can create a moment.
So I agree with that, and And also, I mean, I was listening to director of rugby, Erasmus, and he said also because I think he was asked about the style, is that part of what we're looking to do is to make sure that, you know, when South African people are watching, they walk away knowing that, you know, we played a really, you know, nice brand of, you know, attractive. And of course, it's not saying go out there, throw the ball around, be loose. It's like in a crucial moment, can you know, like create a spark to be the difference? Because at times we're saying the games are going to be tight.
Yeah.
But like we can't just saying it's about 3 points, Galo, like full time. You might just need that moment. Yeah. And for me, why wait for money to come in the last 20 minutes to have that moment where you could, slightly have a chance for 60 minutes, and then now it's time to keep it tight, keep it close. And then you've got a guy whose experience has actually won the World Cup.
But what is the South African blueprint? Winning is winning. It doesn't matter how you win.
Yeah.
And I think Pollard suits the way that South Africa want to win.
We know that. Yeah, we know that. But also, change for most of us is difficult, right? Because Umani has been the Dan Carter that we've been hoping for for many, many years.
Yes.
And now one part of his game has been off, and we're all panicking together because obviously it's a World Cup. But like this guy's only been around a year, but like what he's shown in this short space of time, it showed that, you know, like
there's something there, yeah.
And again, I love those three conversions that he had to kick, kind of showing people as well, you know, like he still got it, and I would have loved to know what happened behind the scenes. Yeah. Because Rassie was asked that question, and he said, no, it was nothing to do with us. Was it Pollard? Who was it that kind of made him, you know, feel a lot more secure? Because that's the money that we're looking for.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, and it's gonna be a tough decision. I really think that Pollard edges the selection battle in a Rugby World Cup knockout game. I think having a Lukhanyo Am back in the system, he's got 13 days to come back up to speed with everything. It's not a case of a new player coming into a setup. I think it's a plug and play thing with Lukhanyo Am coming back into the South African side. And for me, those two players are key in terms of the spine of the South African blueprint and how they want to play. And for me, they go straight into starting places. It makes complete sense for them to start. But there's always going to be an element of risk in it. And I think that's the nice thing about selection, is that it's never linear. It's never one way.
This guy, ne? So when it comes to selection, there's an element of risk. But
always.
But when it comes to money, it's too much risk. You must play it safe.
No. It's a risk picking, Pollard. It's a risk picking money. There'll always be a risk. Okay. So that's the beauty of selection, is that if you pick money, he probably has an off day, misses 12 points from the kicking team.
12 is a lot.
12 is a lot, but it's a possibility. Yeah. But he has a blind of a game in creating tries for everybody.
But we had this question last week where we said, what's stopping the Springboks setup to say, you're not the number one kicker. You're playing, but you're not the number. We'll go to Faf as our number one kicker.
Aye.
What's wrong with that?
Fafu.
No, but they said Faf.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I mean.
So what's wrong with it?
There's nothing wrong. I totally agree with that, because then you allow him to focus on his biggest strength, which is creating play.
The only thing that stops that, though, is if he says, no, I want to kick.
Yeah.
Then as staff, you have to make the call. No, Chief, we feel good to Ufaf.
Yeah.
Okay. I hear that, but
unlikely.
Yeah?
Unlikely. The unlikely event of Mani starting and not being the preferred kicker is very low, because if he starts, and let's say hypothetically Henry Pollard starts at 12, then there's a discussion on who will kick.
But don't we change ours completely when Pollard is at at 12.
How?
Damien, you know what Damien does? Steam training.
He can still do the same thing as
Poland.
Daniel. Yes.
Aye.
He loves the contact.
Is it?
Yeah, he loves it.
Nah,
Loves
my
it.
guy. Ooh, yeah.
So yeah, for me, very interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting build up to those quarterfinals. And it depends now, obviously, with the result of Ireland Scotland when we play. I think if we play New Zealand, we play on the Saturday.
Yes.
If we play France, we play on the Sunday.
Yes.
So there's that element of preparation as well. Who do you prepare for? And I think this week is crucial in terms of the makeup of those quarterfinals, and how and who South Africa plays in that quarterfinal. So very interesting, eh?
Yeah, it's and I mean we're probably talking about it's weird for me how one team has a week off while two teams are playing
Yeah.
for the final
Yes.
position.
Yeah.
Going back to what Rassi was saying, it's like it's nice. We're gonna be watching.
We're
and,
cool.
and,
Yeah.
and that means they have a week less to prepare for which means technically you want the break, but you also don't want the break to be too long
Yes.
because there's no momentum. But yes, in terms of prep,
Yes.
it helps you. You can be more detailed, and they've got time to look at all the scenarios. If it's Scotland, if it's Ireland, it's not from a coaching staff point of view, but like now, guys, like because they were saying the first couple of days they're gonna be off. It's doing whatever they want, travel, which is nice. But like, and then you get started, might take a bit of time. So does that mean now, Lukhanyo, he doesn't go on holiday, he stays? Is that you mean? Chief?
That's what you mean. he kind of he's been on holiday for the past month. So that's true. You know,
Yeah.
the rest time in between the last pool game, which was on Sunday until the quarterfinals, is long. Is it long enough or is it too long? Those are the scenarios as well.
The thing is, the reason why I bring it up is that in football, generally, your last game of the group stages, all the teams play at the same time.
Yes.
Because you're not trying to give anyone an advantage.
Yes.
And that's where now this is different. Is that South Africa is just there,
Chill.
say, which is at times kind of why has it been set up that way? Because I think you don't want one team to have a massive advantage of having to just rest up and watch. Where all of us, we need to decide our position, and everyone is playing at the same time. It's different in rugby because, of course, we've got five in a group, which makes it tricky to obviously play everyone. But there's always that one team in the group that's
chilly.
that's
chilly.
Yeah,
but I think it's good from a recovery point of view. I mean, this match was bruising for a lot of the guys that played there.
Yeah.
So to be able to have enough time to recover, I think that's the most important thing about rugby or being a professional athlete is the recovery time that you have in between matches. So for me, the 13 days after a fast and physical encounter like Tonga gives you enough time to sort out any niggles. I know Ebenezer was carrying a bit of a niggle, but he played the whole game. So it's good for him to have the 13 days to rest, recover, start preparing again, which is good.
I have a question again.
Yeah.
When everyone saw Makazole's injury, you can almost imagine social media, everyone is going crazy, kind of trying to predict which way the Springboks would go, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to ask you in terms of, I saw Van Staden at hooker second half.
Yeah.
And I was like, Ish, I'm not sure here.
It's not make sure.
I'm not sure here. Because it takes Mbonambi, niggle, during this off period, but comes back, Dion is number Dion
one.
goes to one.
Yeah.
And what I saw in that second half, so doesn't that also maybe we could have gone to the Joseph Dweba's scenario, because I thought what I saw in the second half, I was like, hey, I'm not sure with this number 3 guy
Yeah.
from starting at hooker.
Fair question, Nons, because it's a talking point. I mean, to replace a hooker with a fly-off initially
Yeah.
was big in terms of the decision that the coaching staff took. But then to replace an outside back with another outside back and not having sufficient cover for the initial injury, which was Malcolm Knox, that's also another talking point.
Yeah.
I think for me, if they feel as if they've got enough cover at hooker to go through this playoff period. Remember, there's only 3 games left now, so I think they have sufficient belief that the guys that they have in that position in Bongi, Dion, and Marco van Staden can hold themselves enough until hopefully the final.
The reason why I say that as well is that the gaps now get shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
They're not like as big as you are in
yeah.
the group stages. Your 13-day luxuries are done now.
Yes.
So if something happens, you turn around
Very quick.
to say we're going to fly someone in and then we're going to prep them, make sure they, like, imagine now something had to happen. Let's say in the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Joseph Deba comes, let's say a hooker, he comes in, he's literally got 3-4 days to acclimatize, get ready.
It's tricky. It's
Such a risky
tricky,
decision that they've taken that, like, your margin for error now is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we're getting closer to the end of the World Cup.
I still think it was a risky decision in the first place to bring in a Pollard for Malcolm Marx. So if Pollard came in now as a replacement for Makazole Mapimpi, understandable. But to have a guy who's as crucial as a Malcolm Marx out injured, and then you replace him with somebody that isn't even close enough to being a specialist hooker, becomes very risky. But I do understand. In the same vein, I do understand why they brought in a Pollard instead of a Joseph Deba. So there's arguments for both sides here, and I don't think that there will be one that will outweigh the other.
I'll say Lukhanyo is more of a luxury now. I understand
Absolutely.
I understand the replacement to having another 10
Yes.
in the squad. It was needed.
Yes.
It also creates, obviously, la buffer
Yes.
of having someone who's been there and done it. Whereas now, it's not like we've been saying we've been missing him at 13, but of course, he's world class.
Yes.
If you've got a chance to bring him in, it makes sense to bring him. But like, it's more of a luxury to bring him in than a security for me of a hooker. But just to confirm, the quarterfinals are 14th, which is a Saturday, and then next week, and then the other one is on the Sunday, the 15th. And then now this is where I was trying to say, from the turnaround is 6 days for the first semi, which is on a Friday.
The first semi is on a Friday.
On a Friday.
Wow.
So that means if it's 6 days, the day after a game we can't count. So that's 5.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely recovery days. So they've got 5 days. And then
but also you have to travel.
And traveling because they're moving. Luckily, there's the same venue actually.
Is it the same venue?
Yeah.
For
So the quarters and the semi, it's the same venue.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, same. Stade de France. Yeah.
Paris. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the second semi-final is on the 21st, a Saturday, and then the following week, the finals on the 28th,
Still
a Saturday.
Stade de France.
Stade de France, yeah.
So so that's the nice thing is that there's no travel in between.
Yes.
In between the quarters and the final.
Yeah, the it's only the quarters where it's some of the games are in Marseille.
Some of the quarter games are in Marseille.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll depend where we play.
Yeah, Marseille or Stade de France. Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's gonna be interesting in how they're gonna approach that, because let's say hypothetically we play on a Saturday, New Zealand on a Saturday, and then you've got and then we're playing the first semi-final, which is on a Friday.
Yeah.
Then you have those 5 days to recover, which is short, but it's not a train smash. I think it's a regular test week when you look at it.
Yes,
It's a regular test week. You've got the luxury of having the normality of a test week. You recover on a Sunday. You start your preparations on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You play on a Friday.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a big train smash. And even if, let's say, a Dweba comes in for a Bongi or a Dion that's injured, or a Marco van Staden that's injured, it's a plug and play situation for me, because the guy's been in the system. He's been in all of the alignment camps. He's played Springbok rugby this year, so he's up to speed with the calls and everything. So from a preparation point of view, it's not that much for a guy coming back into the South African side, because they've been part of it before.
Yeah. My question now, probably, who do you prefer now? We've seen New Zealand have a big win. Are we still saying between France and New Zealand, France is the better route, or what are you saying now? 96-17 against Italy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at that group now. France is top of that group. New Zealand is second. Italy third. Okay, let's not worry about Italy, Uruguay, and Namibia. France, New Zealand. So basically, France go through as top of the pile, because they'll win all their games in that pool. New Zealand will finish second. And then it depends where we finish. So more likely,
Italy has never been
France, Italy. Oh, it's always France. Always France. Always France.
Okay.
I think Italy is just demoralized by the fact that I don't think that they expected a New Zealand to come out like that on the day that they played. I think they still shell-shocked from the result that they got against New Zealand. It shocked a lot of people, because a lot of people were expecting Italy to really put up a fight. A tighter game. But New Zealand absolutely, irresistible in that game. For me, I'd still prefer France.
Okay.
Why I prefer France? I think France don't have playoff pedigree of the Springboks. The experience of playing in a tough game at a Rugby World Cup, the pressure's on. Thousands of people have come to watch you, and the expectation of you going past the world champions in a Rugby World Cup game. I don't think that they can handle that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
I think
with an added home pressure as well, home crowd. Okay.
I don't think that they'll be able to handle that. And for me, that's why I prefer France. I don't want to play New Zealand because they, even though it's a different kind of New Zealand side, they can still draw back on the experience of going through World Cup quarterfinal matches. So for me, I'd rather play France than New Zealand, because of those reasons. And New Zealand now, even though Ian Foster's saying a lot of things, they have the potential to really turn up on the game.
So it's New Zealand hoping for Ireland, right? I'm going to explain why.
Yeah.
Ireland wins. They're top of the group.
Yeah.
And New Zealand will finish second in their group if France take care of Italy, right?
Yeah.
Right. New Zealand are looking at these guys again. You and Scotland have a proper go at each other, destroy each other physically.
Yes.
You come to us the week later, we have a walkover, basically.
Yes, basically, because that one, the Ireland Scotland one is going to be bruising for Ireland as well, because they're gonna want to really come out and make sure that they get that win, but also make a statement to say whoever we face in the quarterfinals, this is what we're capable of. So big match, and for New Zealand, they probably, like you're saying, hoping that Scotland actually turn up on the game on the day, and actually play a physical game against Ireland, so that a week later, it's a shorter recovery time for them. They can try and really target Ireland, who could possibly be a little bit brittle.
And they haven't been good with the changes, in terms of maybe their fixture has kind of forced them to. It's not like South Africa has had a luxury of the Romania game of wholesale changes. And this one was a partial, half and half, the changes were made. Where now they're going to the last game having to say most likely it's going to be your full strength.
Yes.
It is going to be a full strength side.
Yes.
So they haven't had that luxury where the Springboks have had to rest guys here, play here. And now it's like continuing to play your best side. At some point, feel like it might
be tiring,
catch up.
Yeah, it might catch
especially
up.
in the brand of rugby that they play as well. Because when I was watching them, I was thinking Springboks have, the bomb squad and all that stuff, and it wasn't as impactful as it's been of recent times, and it shows that Ireland, in terms of their conditioning, they've been high up there, but obviously the games just keep coming up, using the same players over and over. Eventually, it might at some point. We knew, like 2019 World Cup, England in the end, you could see.
Tired.
They were gone.
Yeah,
gone. So it just resting players does give you that luxury. Trevor just comes in the second half and just has a field day.
Yeah. So looking forward to it though. Like I think this week is big from how the makeup of those quarterfinals are going to look. I really think so. I think if Ireland can get past Scotland in a really good way, it sets up for a very nice quarterfinal battle, and all those scenarios. We haven't even touched the other side of the draw. I mean, Fiji, Australia fighting for second place in that group, because that's going to be crucial as well. Fiji had an opportunity this past weekend against Georgia to really seal it. They're third place at the moment, Australia in second. But if Fiji wins against Portugal in their final game,
which should be,
then they should take care of business. So, but you never know, eh?
So as you said, the games coming up this weekend. We've got games from Pool A, New Zealand, Uruguay, which New Zealand should be fine there on Friday, and also Pool A. You've got France, Italy, which is the big game in Lyon, and you've got Saturday the 7th. Pool C, Wales, Georgia. England, Samoa, Pool D game, and then Pool B as well, Ireland, Scotland, and Sunday, Pool D as well, Japan, Argentina as well is a big game.
That's a big game because Argentina and Japan fighting for second place in that group as well. So if Japan turns up, which is highly unlikely given the form that they've had in the past few months, it kind of looks like England, Argentina get out of Pool D as the two teams that go into the quarterfinals. But Japan needs to pitch up. I know. I reckon Australia. It gets knocked out.
Then
Fiji goes to the quarters.
I think it would be better if Fiji is in the quarters as well.
Why?
Because they've played well enough. I don't think Australia have shown anyone any. It's backdoor. Literally backdoor, and I feel like Fiji can do something against England. Which they've already shown. But again, that means technically, if Springboks finish second, it could be an easier path to that final.
It's about getting past the quarterfinals, really. For South Africa's point of view, it's about getting past the quarterfinals, because after that,
it's Fiji, England.
Hopefully Fiji, England.
One of those two.
One of those two in the semis. So get past France.
The last
Hopefully.
2 games are massive games.
Huge.
Tonga, Romania.
Huge.
Fiji, Portugal.
Huge.
They're big games. But yeah, Chief, it's going to be interesting. It feels like this World Cup has moved quickly.
Very quickly.
It feels like a couple of weeks ago we're just starting the tournament. Now it's like we're in the back end of it. And and just a little bit, it's going to coincide with the cricket starting.
Yep.
We're
jumping this way and this way.
Yeah. Just going to sit back. I'm not going to say anything.
We're jumping this way, Chief. Chief, let's go into that cricket one because I think we've covered enough of the Rugby World Cup scenarios and what we can expect in the next few weeks, not only from a South African point of view, but also from the other potential quarterfinalists. But cricket, World Cup in a few days, starts on the 5th of October.
It's Thursday, right?
Yeah, this coming Thursday. And South Africa rained out their first warm-up game.
Sri Lanka.
Was it Sri Lanka, yeah?
No.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, it was Bangladesh. And
Sri Lanka's first
then
game.
we against New Zealand in the second warm-up game,
It's big scores.
which was also rain affected. South Africa didn't finish their chase, but obviously lost that on Duckworth Lewis. 211 for 4, chasing 322, I think it was. Good exercise from just playing Indian conditions in these warm-ups. And I think a lot of people they place a lot of emphasis on warm-up matches. I don't know what your opinions are on World Cup warm-up matches, but for me, I think all the bilateral series that you play before should serve as enough warm-up, and then you start the thing already. You go, you prepare.
It's strange.
It's strange for me because
You don't have your football, you warm up.
you don't have
You go straight. What's this build up?
Right.
Let's have now and I was looking at some of those wickets as well they're playing, and I'm like, ingathi India idlala ngabantu.
Yeah, but-
They false preparation.
Exactly.
Because I was seeing some of those wickets, I was like, there's no way you start the World Cup with a wicket like this.
Exactly.
Because that means in a month's time, I don't know what we'll be playing on.
You play just on a different
Yeah.
side.
So, yeah, I agree. Start as soon as you get there, couple of days training, If you want to organize your own game, you organize, but it's not an ICC thing.
Yeah.
Start the World Cup. And because part of the World Cup for me is adaptation.
Yeah.
Now you're almost like ICC is providing teams with acclimatizing to the conditions. No, you do that on your own. If you want to arrive early, arrive early. But the World Cup starts. There's no official warm-up games from sanctioned by ICC. And then, like I said, part of winning a World Cup is the team that assesses the conditions, what to do. Don't give teams that like info to learn, and it must be done by them. And then, of course, if you've got experience, guys who played in the IPL, it's great because then within your team,
You can
that
sort of sort
knowledge
it
can
out,
be
yeah.
shared. At this ground, this wicket does this, So, yeah, it's just an odd one in cricket. It's very odd.
Also, the crowds, from
Yeah.
an Indian point of view, you expect crowds at every cricket game, but
No, people are like, warm-up games, yeah.
This is warm-up games.
Yeah.
You're not interested in a warm-up game between,
Yeah,
I think Pakistan are playing Hong Kong now.
yeah.
So, like, who turns up for Pakistan, Hong Kong?
And it goes, and also like again what you said, like what is the point? Most of the teams were actually playing like a week or two ago.
Yeah, they
it's
had
not
Asia
like
Cup.
people are struggling for game time.
Yeah.
All the schedules for all these teams was like leading up to the World Cup.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, from a preparation point of view, for me, I think that was you can write off whatever happened from a South African point of view in those World Cup warm-ups. People are speaking now, they're undercooked because we've only played
ton
one
of
game.
panic.
It's a panic it's a
Nah.
default panic mechanism
it's a
for
ton
South
of panic.
Africans because you start your World Cup campaign. That's where you actually have to turn up.
100%.
Even if you turn up in the warm-up matches, it doesn't count for nothing.
Yes. And like now is you always mention that certain teams just know how to switch that button. Mitchell Stark hasn't really played a lot of lately, but like you just know about a Mitchell Stark when it comes to ICC events, he knows how to turn it on. I'm going to mention Hassan
Ali,
Pakistan knows how to turn it on. You know, you expect that about Virat Kohli. South Africa, KG, massive World Cup. Quentin de Kock, massive World Cup. Aiden Markram, massive World Cup. David Miller, massive World Cup. So there's a lot of guys in South Africa when it comes to the World Cups who haven't always had guys putting their hands up and saying, I'll be that guy to take the team over the line. And I think it's important your first couple of games, guys to put their hands up early, because I've been hopping on for a few of these podcasts as well to say the first 3 games for South Africa is basically throw everything at them. Throw everything, because we know that no one is going to be looking at the Proteas as the team for the World Cup. But when you start putting pressure with the results, now people start looking and they'll start paying attention. And that's where maybe now over-analysis, overthinking of what are you going to be doing, and the focus is no longer on them, but thinking about what the opposition might bring.
The nice thing, though, from a World Cup point of view, just going a little bit away from South Africa, Kane Williamson back, maybe World Cup warm-up matches work best for guys that haven't played a lot of cricket. From that point of view, getting minutes in the guys' legs, spending time out in the middle for a batter like Kane Williamson, who had a serious knee injury, coming back from injury, was Mitchell Stark getting a hat-trick. So for them, for players like that have come through injuries, World Cup warm-up matches make sense.
Yes, I agree. But I'll say again, if that's the risk your coaching staff was willing to make, that's on you. That should be on you. Again, like, it shouldn't be an ICC helping you to get preparation. No. South Africa had a similar scenario. They had to make a call on Sisanda Magala. And they made the call. They said they couldn't take the risk because his knee might flare up and might take time, and they didn't feel comfortable maybe having one less player. So that's the decision you got to make. I feel like all those things are part of a World Cup. And but again, spot on. Your point is still valid, that Kane Williamson now is getting closer and closer to that, and we know how important he is for New Zealand. And again, I do feel like, when Pommy was sitting here and said, you count New Zealand, and then you count the other 3, and then you try to figure out who the other 3 sides will be. So, it'll be interesting to see how they go, especially without him. But it just feels like a side, man, that just knows what to do, and one guy goes out, another guy comes in. And their bowling attack for me is proper.
Let's come back to domestic cricket. I feel like we
haven't actually.
We actually haven't spoken a lot about domestic cricket, because
there's a place for Domnia next week.
No,
we're just leading you guys.
Please, we'll set up another mic here next week. Domestic cricket has already started with the 50-over competition. Some results have been affected by rain, which is part of the game, obviously. It's a summer sport, it rains. But the defending champions are in a bit of a pickle early on. And I know that the competition is long enough for them to come back and really try and get the results that they need. But 3 games, 2 losses, and 1 washout. So that means what? They've only got 2 points from their first 3 games, which is a bit of a concern when you look at it.
It is a concern.
When you look at it, it's a bit of a concern, because you're obviously defending champions. People expect you to come out and
3 times in a row.
People expect you to come out and show why you're defending champions. Are the Lions looking at this competition with the level of attention that it needs. But there's a lot of bearing in mind that there's quite a lot of change in terms of the coaching staff and new philosophies and all of that stuff with Russell and the guys that he works with there. But do you think that they're taking it with the seriousness that it deserves? I'm putting you under the pump.
Yeah,
here.
you put a big question, Chief. It's a simple answer. You play for the Lions. You're always expected to win a trophy. And I always say to the guys, especially when you look, especially when you just seen some of their recruitments, and the first question I see is like, does that guy know how to play under pressure?
Yes.
Because if you're gonna be at the Lions, every game you're under pressure.
Yeah.
There's always someone watching what the Lions are doing.
Yes.
Lions, Titans.
Western Province.
No, Western Province used to be. I would say, no, honestly, I'm not trying to be controversial. They haven't won a trophy in a long time. And they used to be a powerhouse of South African cricket. I'm not trying to be controversial at all. But like Titans, Lions, every season, you look at them and you say there should be a trophy going that way. Dolphins and Red Bull Cricket are one of those sides that generally will get a trophy.
Yeah.
So there's always pressure on your recruitments. There's always pressure on staff. And when you look at the Lions this year, new coach, new batting coach, wholesale of new players. Still the core of players that have won the cup before are still there. But do the other guys understand the expectations of playing for a side that is always looking to win trophies? Because there's one thing playing looking for wins, but winning trophies is different. And guys always rocking up. Last season in this cup, Rickleton was the leading run scorer. Sisanda Makala was the leading wicket taker. And straight away they started the first game without a Sisanda Magala, who was massive for the Lions. He takes the wickets. Luto Sipamla as well took a fifer in the final. He hasn't played a game. So you've got the first couple of games where Malusi, who does his job, was there. Bjorn was there, but like 89 on the board first game. Second game 129. Vian scores almost 100 by himself out of 129 runs. So the batting department for me hasn't allowed the bowling unit to have a chance. They haven't allowed them to have a chance, and now that's why when we were calling the game last week, we were very much interested to see if we hope this rain goes away, and we see how they respond to, because I thought the Dolphins did well to get 200 with possibly a couple of more runs they would have got through Duckworth Lewis. So I was interested to see how the Lions were going to approach that game, because there was obviously enough juice on the wicket with all the rain on and off, but how would they have approached a shortened game? Obviously they didn't bat well in those first couple of games. So just in a nutshell, if you're going to play for the Lions, there's always pressure. And it starts for me with your recruitment. You got guys that know to deal with pressure. Guys who've won games at their unions as well, because here you'll be asked to win games. If you're 7 down, it doesn't mean the game is over. Can you still find a way? Bjorn Fortuin did it with Reza Hendricks in the final.
Centurion.
Centurion, they won a game. So that's the expectations of the Lions is always big.
And some of the guys that have been brought in, probably not regular starters in their previous province. And that also contributes to how, the approach, how guys sort of find a way to win the game, because they haven't been in those scenarios enough to be able to formulate plans on how to win a game of cricket and a pressure game of cricket for a big franchise like the Lions.
That's a proper important point. Is if you are used to, so as Zubair, we've seen he's done it. There's a reason why he played for the Proteas, because he's put in the performances. So he's a guy maybe who might say is comfortable. Tsepo Moreki has been
Yeah.
on the up. You understand. So it's just the other guys are they also like getting handling the expectations
Yeah.
of the Lions. But again, it still goes back to Josh Richards, guys who've been around
Yeah.
long enough to put on the runs. Rickleton,
Yeah.
put on the runs. Dominic Hendricks, put on the runs.
Yeah.
Guys like Mitch now have been 2-3 seasons at the franchise level to put on the runs because Lions don't have those senior, older guys, maybe you're 34, 35,
Yes.
Rassi van der Dussen,
Yeah,
Temba
yeah.
Bavumas anymore. You've
Yeah.
got a group of late 20s,
Mid-20s.
mid-20s as your main core of batters. So now they need to step up and show why they've been at the Lions. Yes, some might have had performances in different formats,
Yeah.
but like now they need to come to the party because you don't have the luxury of a Temba, Rassi,
fall
but
back
like
on.
they're bowling, like I said, you've got Malusi, you've got Duan,
Yeah.
you've got Makala, you've got Luto, so you've got a Bjorn. So it's more, there's more experience there. There's
Yeah.
more established guys that
Yeah.
know how to win games.
Yeah.
But like you got to give them the runs.
Yep.
You got to give them the runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a great game this past weekend.
Oh. Yeah.
Northwest Dragons
Yeah.
and
Rocks.
and the Paul Rocks. With Northwest chasing down 300 and
Northwest, mate.
the
Dragons.
The Dragons. They chased down 300 and
Yeah, I'm just there was a mess. There was 320 or
Yeah.
330. What the skipper, they batted well up front to obviously set themselves up for a massive score. And I think when I've been watching Northwest, I mean, there was that Dolphins game which was televised, and you're just thinking they're playing good cricket. They're just not
clicking.
finishing games
Yeah.
off properly. Because there was a 323 for 4.
Yeah.
And they chased it down, 7 wickets down. I mean, Keegan had 121 of 129. Great for Protea. Peter Malan, 171 of 130. 10 fours and 9 sixes, which is surprising because you don't see Peter Malan as that guy, but he's also had a county stint, which clearly has also
That was terrible.
and
That was a terrible county stint.
yeah, clearly the experience that he's
it was
taken.
terrible. Like, not to be funny,
Yeah.
he didn't have the greatest
Yeah.
of county stints.
And that's the thing about county cricket. It's actually more the overheads more than anything. You come there, it's gloomy. That Duke ball is doing all sorts of things. You're nicking off. And you're finding guys who actually go there and just be aggressive might have a better chance of surviving because of at least you're putting pressure on the bowler. So yeah, the Dragons, the Rocks had a massive score, 323, and I was shocked. They chased it down with 9 balls to spare, basically.
That's a
the
good
Dragons, 9 balls to spare, and the youngster Prince 166 of 140. With 15 fours and 6 sixes, for a youngster, that's a massive score. I mean, I think he's playing his third or fourth
List
game.
A game,
List A, which is they needed the result because honestly, like I said, I've watched them play a couple of games. I'm thinking they haven't been like out of the games,
Bad, yeah.
but like a game against the Dolphins on a quality wicket in Kingsmead. At 30 overs, I remember there were 170, I think, for 2-3. And we always say you double your score at 30.
Yes.
And they ended up being bowled out for like 263. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, because the reason why I say you double, you've got a chance to kill the opposition in the first half of the game.
Yeah.
If you get 350, 360 first half, they have to play out of their socks to have a chance.
Yeah.
To have a chance. Like this game of the Dragons where a youngster has a massive game, gets 160. So that's where I just thought like they've just been like allowing the opposition in and losing games that were
Yeah.
they should have won.
Michael Prince, Mikhail Prince.
Mikhail,
Yeah, I must not pronounce his name wrong. Mikhail
Pretorius.
Prince. Yeah, Mikhail Prince. Youngster from Cape Town, obviously. Former SA under 19 player. I think he went to Sax, if I'm not mistaken.
I wouldn't know, mate.
Bishops. Bishops. I like that because youngsters sometimes they get caught up in playing, having the hope of playing for the home union, even though the chances of them actually making it in the home union are very slim. So one, I gotta commend the decision by Mikhail Prince to move from Western Province to the Dragons, because that gives him an opportunity to get regular game time for the Northwest Dragons. Because when you look at it, at the Western Province, that top order is probably not going to be a top order that you might get into consistently enough to show what you can do. So that, from an opportunity point of view, really good decision for Mikhail Prince. But also go to a union, you're fresh, you're new, you're young, and win a game of that nature for your side must give you a massive confidence.
Yeah, massive. Because, like I said, I watched those first couple of games. He was batting at 7. And I thought maybe they lacked a bit of experience to close off innings. And when I saw him there, and to think, like, when you've set the games up, you do need that experience at
the back
6,
end.
7, 8. Guys who've just been there, know what they're doing. And obviously, he bats just ahead of Utuan Janssen, who for me is a really good prospect. And he understands how to finish games off. And it was just a matter of, I just felt that they were lacking a bit of experience to kind of, and again, you got to give, I'm not sure why, because I don't think Fantonde played that previous game. And the decision that was made by the coaching staff to obviously push him to the top, you got to commend that to, because he hadn't shown any signs of,
Being
form
able to
be warranted that position. And give credit, for the coaching staff to have given him that chance. And the man really, I'm going to say the young man really stood up, because, there was a bit of confrontation with Hardesville Yoon as well. And the young man, I'm going to call him the man, he stood up. Because I always, when a youngster try to stand up to a senior player like a Hardes who's been around and still back yourself up. I think it was on 70 where there was a little bit of a confrontation. And he still went on to score like those 90 more runs. Just shows you that he's got a bit of, there's
a bit of dog in him.
In him. Someone who's coming from the Cape, of course. And I'm surprised that he comes from Sax, though, because they're usually soft. They're usually soft.
I'm not even going to enter
No,
this.
they're soft. Soft.
I know a lot
Chief,
of
I think I lost like one game to Sax my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, one. Weinberg used to be
the tough one.
Abo Malusi, that was.
But Sax, no.
Please, bud.
I'm not even gonna enter.
No, it's facts.
Yeah, I'm not gonna enter. Let's move on to the ladies.
Yeah.
Ladies, good series.
Can I just quickly interrupt? Sorry, just to give a bit of the log. I apologize there for interrupting. The first couple of rounds of the CSA One Day Cup.
Yes.
You've got Sun Gun Grill. I always mess that one up.
6 Gun Grill.
Yes, yeah, and it is Sun. That's why I was 6 Gun Grill.
Yes.
Yeah. Price stuff. They're on 11 points. Hollywood Bates Dolphins on 10 points in the second spot. Yes. Momentum Titans have only played one game, which is so weird.
Yeah.
3 games, 4 games, 1. They're on 5 points. They had that massive win against the Rocks.
Yeah.
Tuskers, who pulled off an upset on game 1 against the DP World Lions. They're on the 4th spot with 5. Northwest Dragons, first victory this weekend on 4 points, 3 games. 2 teams have played only 1 game. Dufferbed Warriors, they're just following the rain. Dufferbed Warriors, Landelimvu. Every time the Warriors are looking for a game and Super Sport is there, The Stumps don't even have a chance to be put in.
They
Chief.
literally haven't been on the
rained
park.
out game in Cape Town,
Yeah,
rained out game
in PE.
and in Gqeberha, the GQ there. And then Lions recorded their first 2 points with that draw. They played 3 games. And then the G-Bet Rocks, they also got deducted 3 points,
For slow overrate.
Slow overrate. Yeah, when there were that 300 and something there at
I
Supersport
would
Park.
slow the rate down as well.
Yeah. I never got. We were 450, Chief. We were still fine. I had no issues.
Yeah, but you had
450.
You try to get off the park quickly.
Yes. Everyone must do their work and get off the
Get
field.
off the field quickly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to try and make out because it's so lopsided. Everybody's played.
Yeah.
They haven't played in equal games to
Yes.
actually make
a
proper deducement of how the season is going.
Quickly as well, Division 2, I take Knights. They are pushing. They're leading that one. SA Emerging, which is
Bunch of youngsters.
which is an important side, probably a mixture of a side. On second spot, 14 points. 6 Gun Grill SWD, I got it right. They're on 11 points. Limpopo on 10, fourth spot.
You got it wrong.
6 Gun Grill, Chief.
Badges.
Yeah, SWD.
Chief. It's badgers.
Badgers. What is a badger in South
And
Africa,
it's
Chief?
6 Gun Grill Garden Root badgers.
Yo. It's a mouthful. Yeah.
6 Gun Grill Garden Root badges.
Yeah, okay. You see, it's I'll never call them that. SWD, yeah. Eastern Cape Inyati
Yes.
is, as Meki would call them, it's Border Bears.
Border Bears. Yeah.
So on 9 points, Northern Cape Heat on 4 points. They're the team that's kind of wobbly at the start of the season. I would have thought they would have been competing for that top spot in Mpumalanga.
They couldn't chase down 140 this week. Yeah.
Interesting. And then in Mpumalanga, not Tuskers, Rhinos
yes.
on 4. Eastern Storm on 4 as well, bottom of that table. So, remember there's still promotion and relegation, so I just needed to also showcase. They've played a lot more games down Division 2.
Yeah.
But yes, you were mentioning the women's.
Yeah, women's.
2-1 win.
2-1 win.
Yeah.
It's a good win to back that Pakistan tour up because in Pakistan it was new, everything was sort of fresh to them, but home conditions you obviously expect them to really do well against a side like New Zealand. New Zealand much more in terms of experience, much more stronger.
Yes.
Susie Bates, Sophie Devine, very, very accomplished international cricketers. So for South Africa to actually pull off a series win like that was really good. I think I love the game in Potchefstroom, not because I did that game, but
sure, but
but the way that they played. No, actually, the game in Maritzburg was better because we know what we've heard of that pitch and the result that it's and the result that it's produced from the men's domestic game. You would have thought that it was going to be an effect or something that would have affected the women's international, but it didn't. It was a really good game where both sides got into the game runs wise, and to chase down that total was brilliant from a South African point of view. Laura Wolfart, a brilliant 100.
Yeah,
probably one of the best 100s that I've seen in international cricket from South Africa this past season or this season so far. Mixture of composure, but also aggression. I thought we know the classic cover drive from Laura Wolfart.
It's probably the most overplayed.
Exactly. But the how she accumulated her runs were good. She ran well between herself and Sunelu and Marizan. They really ran well and put the New Zealand fielders under massive pressure. So that series for me was really good. What's going to be interesting for me now is the T20 series, and we've spoken about it on the show. Probably since the retirements of the more adept T20 players.
One of them is commentating.
One of them is sitting watching the game. So that's going to be interesting for me how they do in that series.
Yeah, I think you spot on. I think if you look at the composition of this Proteas women's side, Momentum Proteas, is you could see they're more adept to play the 50 over format.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned there, how Wolfhard batted. I think for me, it was you highlight the tempo of how she was batting, because we know how difficult scoring was on that wicket. I watched New Zealand almost probably like 30 runs in the power play, and they just couldn't hit it off the square. Like, it was difficult. They were just finding fielders, and South Africa just strangled and eventually mistakes started to happen from New Zealand. So, and also I think the bowling attack of South Africa, it suits them to play 50 over.
Yep.
So then they can just be the same in terms of hitting good areas, set the field, and whereas now T20 they might be challenge a little bit more.
Things change quickly.
Because it's like a medium style type of bowling attack. I think from what we've seen in Pakistan to what we've seen in South Africa to continue that form is also just same players. I think we probably were important in Pakistan have also put their hands up in South Africa. I still say there's a lot of questions where in terms of the depth, lower order, because we haven't seen though like games going a bit deeper. When you lose, Nadine, what else do South Africa have to close off games? So there's still that for me. But I think obviously now to see how they approach the T20, I think is going to be important, because like we said, they're more adept in playing the 50 over. What other options do they have? What can they do differently? Because we saw Asune slightly just probably drop down, and now is the same person that has been core in the 50 over leg, not really shining when it comes to the T20. So there's a lot of questions when it comes to the T20 side, but specifically more on the batting on the batting front. Yeah.
I think that wraps up the cricket.
Yeah. They're all the best T20s because it's
5 matches, I think.
Yeah.
Buffalo Park.
Yeah.
3 in Buffalo Park, if I'm not mistaken, and then 2 up here at Benoni.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
And there was a black. There's a black.
There's a black ODI.
Black ODI, which was
raise awareness for gender-based violence. It's unfortunate the result, but obviously the message that's behind that is really good from Cricket South Africa to be able to do that. Different causes for the different teams. I know the men's is breast cancer awareness. The women's Momentum Momentum Proteas. To raise awareness for gender-based violence, which is really good to see. I like the black kit. Though. I love it.
I love it as well.
I love that black kit.
It must be tough though in Durban.
To wear black in Durban.
Clearly up.
To wear black in Durban.
Yo. But I would love to own one shirt. Maybe
they are for sale, eh?
Yeah?
Maybe you can speak to the Lotto people for us, eh? Thank you, Lotto. Moving swiftly along, Nods. Did you see Kaizer Chiefs have launched chips? A packet of chips.
Did they?
Yeah. See ya.
Your team
you got promotional packs there.
Kaizer Chiefs.
See ya, did you get any promotional packs, bro?
No, I didn't.
Why? How? No, why not?
What you mean?
You like the.
They launched them yesterday, actually. Day before recording this podcast. So I'm trying to pull them out now. There's a tomato flavor. There's salt and vinegar.
Tomato.
Yeah, which is crazy because you just let go of who's this dude?
Katsande. We let Katsande.
And now you're only launching a salt and vinegar.
That would have been a great marketing tool.
Yeah. But also, it's quite weird. I don't know. They probably, in terms of them launching chips, rather than winning trophies.
Wow. But it's a marketing juggernaut that you say. And yes, yeah, I get your point about
It's fan base, man.
yeah, about not being able
It's
to
fan
win
base.
games, but you can't fault them from a PR
Sounds
and
like
marketing
It
and
sounds like
advertising
the
point
red
of view.
team of mine.
Yeah. Big on business,
Yeah.
but not on the football
Yeah,
side.
the football front. No, but yeah, but let's focus on local. Local is like Chief. You were at the second semi-final.
Yes.
Tell us how that was,
That was
because
crazy.
we unfortunately,
It was crazy, except for the
We couldn't be there.
for the South African fans still only arrive probably
that
before
will
half
never
time.
change.
That's
no,
when
that will never change.
that's when it fills up.
Never
For half
change.
time.
Before half time, then it's
Never
packed.
change.
You know, for that first 40 minutes, people still trickling, in. But the atmosphere is crazy. Chiefs got robbed, apparently, the penalty. But
Tell
like,
us it apparently.
Chief,
Chief.
it was clear, blatant.
there, Balin, I can understand. Balin, it was you could not see. You know,
Oh.
I don't blame the ref from his angle. He might have thought now that was like too light from the player. But now Sundowns is still the better team. Someone thinks here that Chiefs are on the up. I don't know. People are saying that
I
Chiefs are
reckon
playing,
Chiefs are on the
kind of
up
playing
as well.
better.
Keep calling them Chiefs, Chief.
What I noticed there as well, I don't like this thing of violence, like especially when it comes from the whole support your team. You know, when police have to come out before the game even ends to try and protect the coach. You know, because things are tense with the fans. You know, we know how heated our fans get. And Jessica sometimes has to walk next to him just to be like, it's all good, guys. But otherwise, if he walks down alone without that support and the security, things could definitely be thrown. Man.
So on that, the PSL have obviously disciplined Chiefs for a number of those fan transgressions now. They are on the final warning. If they have another fan sort of
Game plan,
violence
closed
like
doors.
that, you get banned, closed doors. So that for me is critical from a Chiefs discipline point of view. I think it's going to be a case of they're probably going to get that sometime this season.
You see, this is where I always say communication and people understanding where the team is, and I mean, like we always have banter about United, and we all want to win, but like, I mean, there are those periods of frustration that we all go through.
Yeah.
Where, like, the team is, I mean, we beat Palace during the week, and then for me the Premier League is important, and then you lose that game, but like it just doesn't feel like, you know, but like we still handle how our feelings and our emotions is important, because I can take the banter that come with it, but it just seems like it just escalates quickly, and again, how we are perceived as a country, you know, it becomes one of those things, talking points. No, we all want to play in the final,
Yes.
but not everyone can play in the final.
Yes.
And on top of that, disappointment is part of sport.
Yes.
And how we handle those, you know, is important, because now you react that way,
Yeah.
and you taking away so much from the game, from the players, and Sundowns being the better side on the day, you take that moment away from them as well, because now the focus is no longer about the result, it's about the other stuff that happened off the field. So we really do need to just get a hold of our emotions. Like I said, like, it's at the end of the day, it might sound like a joke, but it's only a game.
It's a game.
It's only a game, and it doesn't mean now you haven't won. That's the end of you. Chiefs might have maybe another tournament to build the confidence. Now they win. So now when the things are going well, you want to be this person, but when things go slightly off, and it's not like they played a small side, they played a really big side of a Sundowns, and it just, how the roll of the dice sometimes is you lose some, and Liverpool lost the game in an unfortunate way. You still got to get hold of your emotions, and take the unfortunate results along the way, because you don't know when that luck is going to turn. And
Before we run out of time, is obviously the VAR situation that
mate.
has happened this past weekend. Liverpool rightfully feeling aggrieved for being denied that Luis Diaz goal, because it puts the VAR situation in such a contentious place, because what is its purpose? So we kind of have to redefine what the purpose of VAR is now, because when there's clear blunders on a system that is supposed to eradicate
the howlers,
it is going to be very crucial in how was it PGMO that run it are going to
Howard Webb.
How Howard Webb basically is going to rectify the situation. I completely understand them crying, but it needs to be a situation where Liverpool and all the other teams are benefiting properly from VAR the way that it's supposed to be used. It's not supposed to be a situation where VAR, see, that Curtis Jones incident, absolutely spot on from how VAR is supposed to be used.
Yes.
You're supposed to rectify clear human error. So it shouldn't favor certain teams. It's supposed to benefit everyone that is playing under the same system. And that, for me, is going to be crucial in how VAR, if there are going to be changes, if there are going to be amendments, if there are going to be a review, I mean, that's clearly on side.
I wish people could see the. That is clearly. Chief.
Clearly on side.
We're not in Randburg in the studios, Chief.
Sorry. Because I mean, that for me,
it's crucial. I mean, the only I would start and say it's massive, and we know the repercussions in the Premier League can be dire in terms of. I mean, it happened to some of the lower side. Massive difference at the end of the season where you could be relegated or you're qualifying if you're in the top 6, getting those European positions. So it's massive. And you can't have this global league that we have millions and millions of people that look at. And week in, week out, there's a point. Regarding, poor calls, etc. My only concern is, I mean, we've seen a bit of Sky trying to show behind the scenes with what the refs deal with. There is so much talking. I don't know if you have a chance to listen to that, Ref Watch, whatever that it was. There is so much that is happening behind the scenes for VAR, and the ref is being communicated to the ref. And I mean, I remember listening to the one incident, I think it was the United one, early season. And just the audio of it, the guys talking about, okay, well, check this, check that, check that. And as a ref, at times, it can be confusing. The only difference in this situation, the ref wasn't made aware. So that means it's the guys behind the scenes who have missed it. And obviously, it's an offside. Offside is just a factual thing. It's on or off. And they clearly missed it because obviously, Nabo linesmen now, they play on first. Then only later on, they call if they think that it was offside. But if they're not sure, Nabo, they'll keep hoping that the VAR guys comes into play and assist them. So I think it's a matter of the process being simplified, because honestly, when I heard some of that audio, when that United incident, I was shocked in terms of how many different people were communicating
with the one person.
With one person at that time, and that's maybe part of the process for me. And also, why is it just the Premier League that is having a proper bad run with VAR? Is maybe their methods the same as everyone else? Because it just seems to be a lot more with the Premiership right now. Is kind of concerning.
Very concerning. Hopefully, we can get to the bottom of that. Nons, I think that's it.
Yeah, that is it, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
It's
What's coming up this week? Don't forget, Formula One is back.
Yeah, Formula One is back. Back after a year. Obviously, they couldn't have it last year because of the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting this weekend. Obviously, Max Verstappen will win. No secret about that.
So he's, because it's also the sprint race, I think. Or then he basically needs about 3 points
to seal that.
Yeah.
Yeah, MTN8 final as well this weekend, so plenty to look forward to. Cricket World Cup starts, final pool games of the Rugby World Cup. Arsenal we don't care about Arsenal.
Playing City this weekend.
Arsenal City.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, that's huge, actually. Yeah. Actually, we do care about Arsenal. Arsenal all the way. Up the Gunners. Before the international break. Yeah, that's crucial.
There's Champions League for some of the teams in the Champions League tonight.
Right, I think we need to wrap up the show.
Quickly got out of the...